Ryan Lilly asserts that rebels revel in rewriting reality's restrictions. And fusion is the result of joining two or more things together to form a single entity. Enter instrumental artist Desarae Dee. And that single entity? It's her music. But perhaps this isn't just an obvious discussion of genre. Read reviews of her work, and the mix of words include joy, vibe, virtuosity, elegance, forward thinking, power. Yet there's only one Desarae Dee. David R. Brower once mused on whether it is true that fusion will put unlimited amounts of energy into our hands. Indeed. Welcome to Yamaha 440 Sessions.
I come from Toronto. That's where I was born. Started lessons when I was 6. And it was just the same circle over and over again. Don't want to be here. One day I went to my parents. I said, can I quit? My mom said, nope, you're not quitting. And when you come from a Jamaican household, you're not allowed to quit anything. Okay. So one day my dad was bringing me to piano lessons and he saw this black lady at the school. So he went up to her and said, do you work here? She said, yeah, I do. She's like, okay, I have my daughter. She's around 8 years old and I want to put her with you. So I had my first lesson with her. I was about 8.5 at the time, and I cried. And I remember that day she asked me, she's like, how are you feeling? First time teachers ever asked me, outside of piano, how are you feeling? How are you doing? How's school? I was like, wow, she actually cares about me. And from there, we just had a budding relationship, and she gave me so many opportunities. She let me explore different styles of music outside of classical music, and because I was playing at church at the time, she helped me learn some of the church music that I had to play. I got to play pop music, I got to play jazz, I got to play a lot of different styles of music. When I got to high school, that's when I really started enjoying music. I was in the music room every single day. So the kids used to call me Alicia Keys, okay. Which she ended up actually was one of my musical influences at the time. Because I was like deep in her music. Yeah, I was on the computer downloading all her music and learning it. I even bought the book. It was fantastical. And it was at 15 I wrote my first song. Very complex chords. I had no idea what I was playing. And I remember when I was graduating from high school, I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna keep doing this music thing. My guidance counselor told me, do something that you love when you're in university. And I loved music. So I told my parents, I said, I'm gonna go get a music degree. So went to York University to figure out what the heck I was doing. And I took a couple jazz classes and I was like, oh, okay. I remember doing an ear exercise with one of my teachers, and she just played a chord. I told her all the notes in the chord. She's like, do you have perfect pitch? I said, what's that? She's like, yeah, you have perfect pitch. I said, really? She's like, yeah, like your ears are impeccable. How did you figure out what I was doing? I don't know, I just heard it, right? And it was crazy to know that I've somehow had that embedded in me for such a long time, and it took 18 years to figure out what it was. And when your parents see that you have a talent, like they'll do whatever it takes to bring it out, that talent, but it's up to me to have the passion and want to do it, right? And it's like, yes, my parents want this so much, but I also have to want it too, or else it's kind of a waste. Well, my music is a fusion of multiple things. So I'm classically trained, self-taught jazz piano player, and I like to combine different elements of music. So I grew up in church, so you'll hear some gospel nuances in there. I love R&B, you'll hear some R&B nuances. I love electronic, so you hear some synth sounds. I love synth solos, so you'll hear all of that in there. And then hip hop beats. So it's like a a jambalaya of things, right? Because I think people are so used to like every genre being put in a box. So like, this is R&B, this is jazz, this is gospel. And because I like to be outside the box and I don't want to conform necessarily to one genre, I call it a fusion because it's combining multiple genres together to create something new. But once I explain it, people kind of understand like, oh, okay, I hear that in it, I hear that in it. But I like the fact that people hear different types of genres within my music, because I don't want to be boxed in, oh, I'm just an R&B player or I'm just a jazz player. It's different every single time, right? I don't go into the studio with a plan. I just kind of go and I sit and I fool around, and if I hear a melody, I work with it. In terms of like producing and putting it together, sometimes I hear the melody and I'll just right away put the chords with it and record that. And then I may hear like, I don't know, some pads or some sort of, auxiliary sound, and then I'll search through my beats, and I'll take one beat from one genre and one beat from another genre, mash it together, chop it up the way that I like it, add it in. Sometimes the bass line comes first. So sometimes I'll hear the keys first, sometimes I'll hear the beats first, sometimes I'll hear the bass first. It just depends. When I was taking lessons, my teacher would always tell me, oh, you need to bring out the melody, especially with chords. Okay. And I would struggle with it. I had a very weak pinky. So she's like, no, you really have to work on bringing out the melody. So what I would do is I would isolate everything that wasn't melody and play the melody. That way I could hear what it was and then put it back together. And that's how I really worked on, okay, melody, melody, melody. So when I was in university and I was taking harmony in my second year, I really understood, like, oh, okay, so this is how, like, this note can work with these chords and this note can work with these chords. So that's kind of how, when I translate it back into my music, I wanted to be different from everybody else. So that's kind of how I write my music. I hear the melody and then I formulate the chords underneath. One of the songs that I played, Late Arrival, that song was from my first project, 20, but I associated that with the fact that it's never too late to start things in life. It's never too late to go after your passions. It doesn't matter how old you are or what part of your journey you're in. It's important to just do it. It's important to just start. And even if it was late, you still did it anyways. So that's why I called it Late Arrival. Another song that I wrote, Levels. I actually don't spell it the way that it's spelled. I actually took out the vowels. So it's actually spelled LVLS. Nice. And I wrote that during a time where I was just thinking about my life in my 20s and how up and down it was and all the different obstacles and setbacks that I went through in the first part of my artist journey. You know how elevator goes to all these different levels and it drops down sometimes, and then sometimes it stops in the middle, sometimes it drops down again.
That's a great analogy for this business.
Oh, man. That's funny. Do I have to answer that? So my latest one is Chilly Timing. So that came out in March of this year, and it's an ode to Canadian winter and how up and down it is. So one minute it's cold, one minute it's raining, one minute I can wear a t-shirt, next minute I have to put on my jacket.
So how does that manifest musically? How did you represent that? What?
Okay, so when you listen to the song, it starts off with violins, strings, but it's like a tremolo. So it's kind of like shivering type of feel, and then it goes in, and then you hear there's this melody that comes in, and it's kind of like, okay, snow is falling, and then there's another section that comes in, and it switches. So that just represents the switch in temperature, right? And then another switch happens, it's like, okay, we're back into the cold. And you can hear all the various instruments that come in. So I've got this amazing Yamaha guitar. And yeah, this has been a lifelong dream to play one of these. You know what? I've always envisioned myself being in front of my band and like taking on a solo and like coming on the front and just letting it rip. You know, when it goes up like that, you just want to lean into it like that, right? And then it goes low, right? And then, of course, it has the modulation, kind of gives it that vibrato. I love the vibrato part.
Nice.
Right? Yeah. Together at the same time, right? Listen, man, I'm ready. I have the Yamaha CK88. The 88 is spectacular. I love the feel. I love the fact that it's weighted. I love the weighted sound to it. I love the fact that there's no menus. The nice thing about this is the fact that I can do 3 sounds at the same time. So there's an A sound, there's a B sound, and there's a C sound. So I guess in my A sound, I can put a keyboard if I want keyboard. In my B sound, I turn it on, and I can add my electric piano. And then for my C sound, I'll probably do a pad because I like the pads. If I want to play all three of them, I can turn the volume up on all of them. If I don't want pad, I'll take it out. If I don't want keys, I'll take out the keys. I love that everything is here. If I don't want the sound, to turn it on, turn it off. I love that function because a lot of the boards that I've played in the past don't have that function. And it's really easy for when I do my live sets as well too. I also like the fact that there's 8 different presets for the live function, so I can set up all of my sounds on here. So if I want these particular sounds, I can store them by clicking the store button, and it stores into, say, this is my preset 3rd. And I'll do another preset, set different sounds for that one, store it in, so that when I play my gig, I don't have to go and search, oh shoot, I need a piano, oh, I need an electric piano. Everything is already set from before, so I love that. Okay, so in the piano section, because you know I'm a piano girl, I like CP80. I also like the CFX series. I like the CFX Warm. Electric piano, 73rd Studio. Love that one. And then in the pad section, analog pad. And then there's another one called UFO or LFO. Yes, LFO pad. I have found this to be amazing. The sound quality is amazing. Even live sounds amazing. For organ players, oh yeah. Oh yeah, the fact that the drawboards are here, right? That's amazing. And you can, make your adjustments here and there. And of course, for those who like to use the transpose button, there is a transpose button here as well. Built-in speakers.
Okay, talk to me.
Built-in speakers. So I like when I can go to a gig and I don't have to bring my block 10 because the block 10 is heavy. I can go to a gig and I can just start playing and I can hear myself. All of the boards, I need extra amplification to be able to hear it. So the fact that on the Yamaha CK88, I can turn on the speakers and I can hear myself. And I don't have to worry about bringing an amp. It's loud enough where people can hear me. Bluetooth. So, because I just recorded my songs, I was able to connect my phone into this, and this acts as a speaker to amplify my music from my phone.
So you did the tracks in a computer.
Yes.
And then just bounce them out as MP3
Exactly.
or something?
Exactly.
And then Bluetooth from your phone.
Yes.
So for live performance,
Oh yeah.
this saves you from bringing all kinds of computers and a bunch.
Yeah, because before with my live performances, I would have to load everything on my iPad and bring my little stand here and then connect that into external amplification. So with this, the fact that I can Bluetooth my phone, I can just preset all of my tracks, MP3 wave, put it into my phone, and then connect the Bluetooth here, and then everything just plays. I'm in heaven.
Game changer.
Less gear, because I know there's a lot of people that use backing tracks, and having to load a computer, right? I know I used to have to do that at one point.
Right.
So the fact that Yamaha has that feature, and then times have changed now where less gear is required for gigs. So I just have to bring this and then make sure that I preload everything.
And just for the folks out in YouTube land,
Yeah.
when you use Bluetooth, it plays through
Yes, it does.
the keyboard.
Which is why it has built-in speakers.
Right.
So I'm sure there's probably keyboards that have that function, but you still need the external amplification to do it. With the Yamaha CK88 built-in speakers, so I don't have to worry about doing that. So even with the external amplification, everything can still be heard.
Amazing.
Yeah. Oh man, it is light as ever. But not only that, this can be battery powered.
Battery powered.
Right, so if I just so happen to leave the power block at home, I can go run to the store and buy some batteries and put it in here. Yeah, but you are right. It is light as ever. I own a Yamaha S90, and that thing is heavy. That used to be my gig board at one point. And I would have to ask the guys to carry it for me because it was too heavy. But with this, I haven't had a problem lifting it. And the fact that it's weighted and it's still easy to carry around, mind-blowing. Yeah, I actually did a show at Sunfest recently, and one of the sound guys came up to me and said, "Oh, I've never seen this before." I said, "Yeah, this is Yamaha's new model, CK88. He's like, "Oh, what does it have?" And the first thing I told him was about the speakers, and you should have seen his face. He was in shock. He's like, "It has built-in speakers?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "It also has Bluetooth." He said, "What?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "It can also run on batteries." He said, "Huh?" Yeah, and then I think the one thing that impressed him was the sound quality, because he came up to me after the performance and said, "That sounds really good." For everything that I needed to do, it can do it.
Amazing.
Yeah. a point in my career where I almost quit music. It's around 2018 because I just didn't know what else I needed to do. And I wasn't really getting the support that I would have loved to have as somebody who's doing something totally different that's never been done in this country before. And I was like, what else am I supposed to do? I don't know what to do. And I just had no motivation. I wasn't writing. My creative brain was just not there. And it was me making a discovery in GarageBand. And then one day I looked and I saw a little loop button. I was like, what's that? Didn't know it was there. Clicked it, and I was like a little kid in a candy store. I was like, where did all this come from? And it was there where I was like, wow, Desarae, you're really not tapping into your true potential. So In Rotation was birthed out of that discovery.
Out of the loop button.
Yes. I think it was the fact that there was all these like beats at my disposal, and I wasn't really at that point in my producing journey where I was making the beats. So I would take beats from different genres and I would chop them up. So I would listen to them, and if I didn't like the whole thing, I would scrap. And then I would bring in a beat from another genre, put it together, and create my own beats that way. So I'd be mixing hip hop with like house, or it was mixing, I don't know, trap with pop. It was very interesting. Yeah, the loop button saved my career, let's say that. Working with Yamaha has been amazing. It's been a dream come true. But one of the important things to me was representation, and that's always been big for me. It's a part of my brand as well too, where representation matters. And I believe that when you see the representation, that it motivates and inspires other people. And for things that I do as a Black woman, instrumental artist that's never been heard of in this country. And I feel like it's so important to have that as a part of the music industry because I didn't see myself represented, especially in Canada, right? And I feel like those little girls who are taking lessons, they want to see something like that represented because it's gonna, inspire them. Oh my God, Desarae did that. I want to be just like her. I want to, travel the world. I want to play piano. I want to take lessons. And I get all these messages from people all the time. Somebody messaged me the other day and they said, you inspired me to play piano again. Hearing those messages.
That's huge.
Yeah, it's huge, especially as a woman in a male-dominated industry. I can remember my grandfather, rest in peace. He used to tell me all the time, you can't do what the boys do and still be a lady. Well, if he was still alive, I'd be telling him and be like, well, guess what, Grandpa? I am doing what the boys do, but I'm still queen. So, but yeah, like when I connected with Yamaha, and I love the fact that their slogan is now making waves, because that's what I'm trying to do, make waves. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. Like this has been a dream of mine for a long time, so thank you. Thank you for making that dream come true for me.